Welcome back to your TV classroom. Today is Thursday, January 28th. We're almost done with our week. How has your week gone? Have you had a good week? Did you get to do anything fun? Before we get going, let's check in with our zone. Go ahead, take inventory of your body and your brain. What zone are you in today? If you're not in the green zone, what are you going to do over the next 5 minutes to get yourself closer to the green zone? What zone am I in? You know, Rafa, I'm in the green zone. I'm feeling centered. That means I'm not feeling any big emotions or feelings. I'm feeling grounded. My brain is feeling calm. My thoughts are in order. I'm in the green zone. I wonder what our friend zone is at home. Please make sure you tell someone the zone you're in and why. And if you're not in the green zone, figure out what's causing that and see if that's something you need to fix right now, or if it's something you can't fix and you need to use a strategy to get yourself to the green zone. It is time for What's Missing Thursday. Let's take a look at our equations and figure out, what do we know? Remember this, what's missing? Many times our brains get into the yellow zone. We see it and our brains start going, oh no! And so then we need to take a deep breath and we need to say, I don't know that, but I do know. What do you know? What do you see here? Yeah, I think it's a great idea to say the equation with words that make sense, words that tell us the action. So 9 groups of something equals 45. So what do we know? We know there's going to be 9 groups. What else do we know? There's going to be 45 in all. What multiplication facts end in 5s? The times 5s. So there's a hint. What do you think the missing factor is? Could be 5s. Let's check it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. What is 9 groups of 5? 9 groups of 5 is 45. Okay. Ooh. 9 groups of something equals 54. Okay, freeze. We knew 9 groups of 5 was 45, right? Okay. What should we do? We're still dealing with 9 groups. So instead of 5 in each group, what if we did 6 in each group? Well, how could we use 45 to help us? What was that, Rafa? Oh, Rafa said this 45 is 9 groups of 5 or 5 groups of 9. That's right. We can reverse the factors and get the same answer. So if I have 5 groups of 9 equals 45, could I add another group of 9? What would we get? What's 45 plus 9? Another group of 9 equals 9, and 45 plus 9 equals 54. So how many groups did we do? 5, 6 groups. 9 groups of 6 equals 54 because 6 groups of 9 equals 54. Very good, third graders. If 6 groups of 9 equals 54, how could we figure out how many 6 groups of something equals 48. How can we use this to help us figure out this? Okay, so 6 groups of 9. What if we make it 6 groups of 8? What could we do? Oh, what if we take 54 and we subtract a group of 6, right? We subtract a group of 6 because 9 times 6 is 6 times 9 is the same as 9 times 6. So instead of 9 groups of 6, we're subtracting a group to make it 8 groups of 6. Well, what's 54 minus 6? It's 48. So instead of 9 groups of 6, we have 8 groups of 6 equals 48. So what's our missing factor? Right, we just reverse it. And now it's 6 groups of 8 is 48. See how when you can reverse those factors, how it can help you figure out the factor that's missing. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Six groups of something is 66. Rafa, what was that? Rafa said, I know 6 groups of 10 is 60. You are right, Rafa. 6 groups of 10 equals 60. So, how many more groups do we need to get? How many in each group do we need to get to 66? Yeah, if 6 groups of 10 is 60, then 10 groups of 6 is 60. So how many groups of 6 do we need to get to 66? We just need one more group of 6, which would make it 11. 6 groups of 11 equals 66 because 11 groups of 6 equals 66. When you can flip those factors to help you, it makes it so much easier. Okay. 6 times something equals 72. Well, we figured out back here that 6 times 8 was 48. And we figured out that 9 times 6, or 6 times 9, was 54. 72. Well, 9 groups of 6 equals 54. 11 groups of 6 equals 66. How many more do we need to get to 72? Another group of 6. That's going to make it 12 groups of 6 equals 72 because 66, that side does not like me. 66 plus 6 equals 72. So if 12 times 6 equals 72, then 6 times, you got it, 12 equals 72. Nice job. Today we are learning to compare the area of squares and rectangles. I have a question. Do you think we find the area of squares differently than we find the area of rectangles? Or do you think we use the same method to find the area of squares and rectangles? Take a few seconds to think about which one you think it is. Do we use the same idea to find the area of a square, or is it a different way to find the area of the square? Turn and tell your learning buddy what you think and why you think that. Okay, Rafa. Okay, hold that in your brain. We're going to do our math lesson and let's see if your thinking matches what I'm going to teach you today. Before we begin though, what's the area of this rectangle? What do we do to figure out the area of this rectangle when we don't have the square units to count? Well, we know that we have 9 groups of 5. What do we do? 9 groups of 5 centimeters. Okay, what is 9 times 5? We just figured it out earlier. It's 45. 45 what? Not centimeters. Square centimeters. Correct. Great job. Nice work. Okay, listen carefully. Tyler's rectangular bedroom floor is 9 feet wide and 9 feet long. Suki's rectangular bedroom floor is 8 feet wide and 10 feet long. Whose bedroom floor has a greater area? So what's happening in this problem, third graders? Okay, we've got 2 people's bedrooms, and we're trying to figure out who has a bigger one. Okay, let's read again and let's highlight the question. Tyler's rectangular bedroom floor is 9 feet wide and 9 feet long. Suki's rectangular bedroom floor is 8 feet wide and 10 feet long. Whose bedroom floor has a greater area? What's the question? Okay, now let's find information we're going to use to solve the problem. Tyler's rectangular bedroom floor is 9 feet wide and 9 feet long. Suki's rectangular bedroom floor is 8 feet wide and 10 feet long. Now hold on. In our learning target, Ms. Wally, you said we were going to compare squares and rectangles, but both of these things say rectangular bedroom floor. Tyler's rectangular bedroom floor is 9 feet wide and 9 feet long. Those are the same length. What do I know about a quadrilateral that has 4 sides that are the same length that all meet at 90-degree angles? It's a square. What else do we know about squares? If you said that squares are also rectangles, you've got it. Why are squares rectangles? Well, opposite sides are the same length and they meet at 90-degree angles. But squares are a special rectangle because squares are the only type of rectangle where all the sides are the same. Okay? So it is a square, but it's also a rectangle. It's kind of a fun little fact that you can remember, that a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not always a square because 10 feet and 8 feet are not the same. Okay? So we could say Tyler's square bedroom, but we're going to say rectangular bedroom. That's what it says. Tyler's rectangular bedroom floor is 9 feet wide and 9 feet long. That's important, and the person's name is important. Suki's is 8 feet wide and 10 feet long. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. You need to draw a model, and you need to figure out whose bedroom floor has the greater area and why. Are you ready? 2 minutes of work time. Go. All right, how are you doing? Do you have your model? Did you figure it out? If not, that's okay. If you're stuck, that's okay, because you've never done this before, okay? So let's go through and see some of the ways you could have solved this problem accurately. You can use models to help you multiply to find the area. Take a look at the models below. Are they similar to your models? The model has Tyler's bedroom floor, and they drew a square with 9 feet by 9 feet. I'm going to use this. You can see it right here. 9 feet by 9 feet, which means all of these are 9 feet. And then they made the title Suki's bedroom floor, and they did 10 feet by 8 feet. Okay? So this is what we mean as a model. So then you can take this and look at it, and you can say, oh, look, I have 9 groups of 9 and 8 groups of 10, and you can multiply and find the area. You can also use multiplication equations to find the area. So when we do math, we want to model first so we can see it and understand it, and then we use math to solve what we modeled. So the length of the floor, 9 feet. This is for Tyler's room. So this person used words to explain it. The width of the floor is 9 feet. Multiply length and width to find each floor. Tyler's floor area is 9 groups of 9. Suki's floor area is 10 groups of 8. Okay. And look, Suki's room, they did 10 feet and the width 8 feet. So now let's go through and do the math to solve this problem. I want you to check your math with the math I'm going to do on here. You ready? So what is this problem asking us to find? Well, we have to find the areas, and then we have to compare them. Just finding the areas is not good enough. There's 2 steps to this problem. Find the areas, and then answer the question, which was, whose floor has a greater amount of space? What units are we using to measure the length and the width of the floor? Do you remember? Look back. Feet. What unit should we use to record the area then? If each length and width is feet, what's the unit we're going to use? Square feet. Check your answer. Did you answer it in square feet? So complete the equation below to find the area of Tyler's bedroom floor. Tyler's floor was 9 feet by 9 feet, and 9 times 9 is 81 square feet. The area of Tyler's bedroom floor is 81 square feet. And then we did 10 feet by 8 feet, and 80 square feet is Suki's. So Suki's bedroom floor is 80 square feet. So whose bedroom has the floor with the greatest area? Whose is greater? Tyler. By 1 square foot. That's not a big difference. Okay. We are going to move on to this last problem. We're going to do it together. Jan has a rectangular photo that is 7 inches long and 5 inches wide. How much space will this photo cover in Jan's photo album? So what are we going to do? Let's draw a model. 7 inches long and 5 inches wide. And this is Jan's photo. You make sure you draw this on your board. What's your equation going to be? 7 inches times 5 inches equals 35 square inches. So how much space will this photo cover on the page? 35 square inches. Great job. Today for your homework, you're going to do page 329 and 330, practicing finding the area, drawing rectangles and squares, comparing areas, and just practicing doing this work. Third graders, I am so excited that you understand multiplication, so you're able to find the area of rectangles really easily. Nice job. Today we learned to compare the area of squares and rectangles. And I asked you a question at the beginning. I said, do you think that we use the same formula to find the area of a square and the area of a rectangle? Or do you think it's different? What did we learn? It's the same because squares are rectangles. So if a square is a rectangle, then we're going to use the same formula to find it. Now, later on, not now, later in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you're going to start learning how to find the area of a circle and the area of a triangle and use a very different formula for those things. Okay? Awesome. So we created models, we found the areas of rectangles and squares, and we compared the two areas. Now, before you go, you will need your ELA packet, your pencil, and your learning buddy. Also, if you want to do some extra work, or maybe you want to do some art with math and finding the area, and you would like to send it in to us, or you would like to take a picture of the work you do and send it to me and your teacher, I would love to see it. And if you would like to do that, you can send it to us here at the TV classroom. On top, you can see our email address. So just from your school email, you can shoot me an email with your answer, or maybe you're not understanding something I said, and you want to ask me a question. That's how you can get a hold of me and ask me a question. Or if you want to send us something, you can send it to the TV classroom at that address below. All right. Have a good break. You'll be with Miss Oslin next, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, third graders.
Let's do a little stretching with our breathing now. Inhale your arms over your head and bring your palms together. Now, as you exhale, arch your back and make goalposts from your arms. Then inhale up again and relax. Let's repeat that. Inhale, exhale, inhale, stretch up, and exhale. Bach lived from 1685 to 1750. That means in 1700, he was 15. And guess what? The world he lived in then was just as turbulent as ours is today. Some of the things that happened that year were a mega earthquake near Tacoma, which caused a tsunami in Japan. Europeans changed to a new calendar that began its numbers from the birth of Christ. Huge fires destroyed the capital of Scotland and part of the capital of Ethiopia. Wars were fought by Sweden, Germany, Latvia, Denmark, Poland, Russia, Spain, and France. William Penn began holding meetings for the emancipation of enslaved people here in the United States. New York and Massachusetts passed laws forcing all Catholic priests to leave their territory under punishment of death. If Bach could turn to music to comfort him through all the ups and downs of that, you and I can find comfort in it now too. And you know what? Even with all that chaos happening, one special thing stands out about that year too. The piano was invented in 1700. We've all gotten to enjoy piano music ever since. Let's listen to one other dance Bach wrote for the violin. This one is called a sarabande. It's slower, maybe a little sadder, but it also helps me relax and feel my feelings. If I were to think of words for how this music makes me feel, I would say gentle and touching. What words would you describe it with? Feel free to move to this dance music too and see if you let your body sway and your heart open while you breathe to the music, how it feels.
Hi, third graders. Welcome back from your break. Welcome to your literacy lesson with Mrs. Oslin. I see you have a lot of your materials. I see a lot of you also grabbed all of your drafts and graphic organizers that we've been using. Way to be prepared and responsible today. Today is actually going to be a pretty quick lesson because a lot of the work that you're going to do, I'm going to set you up to do it and then you're going to go off and do it independently. Before we get started, let's remind ourselves of our 3 personal standards. These are the behaviors that we have agreed to when we come together so everyone feels safe thinking and speaking so that we can grow as readers and writers. Now, practice saying these with me. Show respect, make good decisions, solve problems. We have been doing so much work around biographies. Now, this Features of Biographies list is in your ELA packet. Feel free to refer to it. But you'll remember that biographies are written in the past tense. They're written in the third person, talking about someone else. They're organized chronologically, which means they happen in the order of events that actually happens in time. They're about a person's entire life or just about a really important part of their life, however you chose to organize your biography. They have biographers, that's your feelings or opinions about your subject. They include reasons, examples, and details to show the biography subject is admirable and often viewed as a role model or hero. So stating why you chose the person that you chose to write your biography about. Important dates are included, important places, significant people, the people that are around your subject, maybe their friends, maybe their family, maybe their colleagues, their coworkers, people that they've met that have influenced who they are and the choices that they made. They have interesting details, challenges and struggles, achievements and honors, photographs, quotes. And they often include an author's note, and they include with an author's big idea and opinion. So we've talked about how to end, how to start a biography. And we used this graphic organizer to help us think about people who have made a difference. So this is when we were first selecting our biography. We thought about who has done something that changes the way the world works. We did some thinking about Jacques Cousteau and the inventions that he created so that he could go on the explorations that he wanted. We thought about using a lot of words to describe the attributes or the character traits of our subject. And this is where our opinion came into play. This is where, based on what they did, this is the kind of person that I think they are. We talked about the struggles and challenges that our subject had to overcome. Based on that, how would we describe them as a person? This is when we were thinking about who else matters. This is the important people that are around our subject. We worked on using quotes and thinking about what has the person said that is really powerful that can get our readers' attention? What has something that someone around our subject said that either impacted our subject or better explains what our subject did or had to overcome? This is where I'm thinking about Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and in the opening of that book, we hear the quote that life would be easier if she were a boy. And that quote from the woman when Elizabeth Cady Stanton was just 4 years old was really, really impactful. We talked about ways to end biographies, how to end it so that our reader has all the information they need and they're interested. And again, your opinion as a biographer is restated. We revised our biographies, which means we went back and we added transition words and phrases to make sure our ideas are connected and to make sure that our biography is smooth and flows as the reader reads it. They don't have to stop and think about what you meant because it's just stated really clearly and makes sense. We added dates and details to support all of the thinking. Today, now that we're caught up on what we've already done, today we're learning that writers use a checklist as a tool before they edit and publish their writing. So editing is going back and checking for grammar and spelling errors before you publish it, which means give it to someone to read. Now, the checklist that you are going to use is page 30 in your ELA packet. And we're going to go through this together, and then you're going to go off with your biography, and you're going to check off what you have included. There's also some optional items that you could include. And then you're going to ask someone around you to also read your writing and give you feedback on this checklist. Now, I know that can be really scary to ask someone else to read what you've written, but just think about all the work that you've done and think about that this is an opportunity as a writer to make it better. And I'm going to share a personal experience of mine where I was working on completing my national boards a couple years ago, and it's a lot of writing, like a lot of writing. And you only get a certain amount of pages that you can use. So I had to be really clear with my writing. I had to really make my points. So I had to make sure I was using very specific vocabulary, not a lot of extra words, didn't have time for that. Get to the point. Now, it can be tricky in these situations because in my mind, what I've written makes sense and I've proven my point. But as a writer, it's important for someone else to read your writing so that you can hear how someone else is understanding what you've written. You get someone else's point of view, someone else's perspective on what you've written. And it can be scary for someone to come back and say, this is what I think you could add or change. But I'm going to invite you to be brave and recognize that getting feedback from someone else will make you stronger in the end. So think about who is someone that you would feel safe with. I chose my friend, Ms. McKinney at Bernie, because she was also doing her national boards, and I knew that any feedback that she gave me wasn't her being mean or saying that I wasn't a good writer. It was just to make me better. So take a deep breath and think about who you can invite to read your writing. First, you'll do it on your own. You're going to go through, and the top half is a must-have. These are things you have to have in order for your biography to be read by someone else. You must have an engaging introduction that introduces the subject and states your opinion. If you never introduce your subject, it's going to be really difficult for your reader to understand and want to read what you've written. You must have paragraphs with a main idea and supporting facts and details. You must have quotes from the subject or others who knew them well. You must have important influences. These are other people in your subject's life. You must have challenges or struggles. You must have accomplishments or successes. You must have ending or closing that demonstrates one of the techniques used in our books. So you can go back to that graphic organizer or that chart that we used that gives us examples. You want linking words and phrases that connect ideas. You want a meaningful title. And you want neatly planned out cover that reflects your subject's life. Those are all must have. If you're going through this checklist and you're noticing that you're missing something, keep going through the checklist, and then at the end, you'll go back and add whatever it is that you need to add. You'll revise your writing. Now, the bottom half is optional items in a draft. If you have them, you'll put a check mark. If you don't have them, at this point, they're just optional. So don't worry about adding them yet. But you could have a special thanks or dedication. You could have illustrations or photographs, an author's note. You can include a little blurb, which is just a short little writing about you and who you are. You can include that graphic of the timeline that we talked about. You could include websites or books for more information, much like Manfish, our book about Jacques Cousteau, had that back page that said, if you would like to learn more about Jacques Cousteau, go here. You could have sources, like where did you get your information from, and give that text credit. And you could also have a how to keep the work of your subject going, which we saw in Manfish. So again, those are optional. So your independent work today is to go through, be honest with yourself. Give yourself a check if you included it. If you haven't yet, don't worry about it. Go back and add it. Then you're going to be brave, be a strong writer, and ask someone to give you feedback on your writing, where they'll go through the same process and talk to you about what they saw or what isn't there yet. And then you can go back and add it. Because today, we are learning that writers use a checklist as a tool before they edit and publish their writing. We are so close to being able to publish your writing, which means send it to someone else to read as a done and finished product. Now, as you're doing your independent reading today of biography, pay close attention to these features and think about if there's something missing in your biography that you need to add. Notice how another published author showed that feature or demonstrated that skill or added that to their biography, and you can copy that in your book. When you're reading, also pay close attention to when you're not understanding what you're reading, and use this document when meaning breaks down to help you. We've been practicing doing that all year. You can also remind yourself of how to stay focused, because it happens, especially when we're towards the end of a unit. You've been reading biographies for a really long time, so you might notice that your brain starts to think about something else when you're reading. That's the time to either walk away, get a different book, or use one of these other strategies to help you. You're also going to continue adding to your reading log, making sure that you send this to your teacher at the end of the week so that they know what you've been working on. Also, you can send any work to us here at our TV Classroom. You can email it to us, that's the top line where it's tvclassroom@tacoma.k12.wa.us, or you can put it in the mail. And Mrs. Wally and I and Mr. Kevin, we would love to look at your writing, and we could give you feedback on it as well. We could tell you what you're doing well, and we can give you tips for what to do next. Now, third graders, it's time for your affirmation. This is where we say something positive before we send ourselves off, especially because today I'm asking you to do something brave and asking someone else to give you feedback on your writing. So I want to remind you, I am brave. Practice saying that with me. I am brave. Excellent job today. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow in our TV classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.